Just days away from college football 2011. We can't wait. Mark Rogers TV breaking down the BCS leagues, predicting winners, and rating the conferences. We've got the Big East at 6, the ACC at 5, the Big 12 at 4, and coming in at number 3, the new Pac 12 with Colorado and Utah on board. We've got the Pac 12 again at number 3, and we've already looked at the South Division. Let's look to the stronger North Division and Cal Berkeley, the Golden Bears under Jeff Tedford. What a job he did initially at Cal, bringing that program out of oblivion to postseason play year in, year out, but he's hit a wall. 5-7 last year. Could be a make-or-break year for him. He's breaking in a new sophomore left-handed quarterback in Zach Maynard. To Oregon State, and one of the most underrated coaches in the country, Mike Riley. He produces big wins, takes marginal talent to postseason play almost every year. He loses his dynamic playmaker in Jacquizz Rodgers, but Jacquiz's brother James is back. 5,700 total yards, rushing, receiving, and returning, 27 career touchdowns, but James has been limping with a knee problem in the offseason. He needs to return to health for Oregon State to play with the big boys and have a chance. Washington, with a combination of Jake Locker at quarterback and Steve Sarkisian at coach, lifted that program from 1-10 with just a win over arch-rival Washington State by 3 points to postseason success last year against Nebraska. The Huskies have come a long way in 3 years under Sarkisian. He loses Locker, but he's got quarterback Keith Price, a sophomore, stepping in. Price has one valuable career start under his belt. That was against Oregon last year, and he fared pretty well against the Ducks at 14 for 28 with no picks in that game. Washington has a recruiting base for the last 3 years built under Sarkisian's reign, and they, despite the loss of Locker, are a much stronger team this year. Expect them to win about 7 to 8 games. Washington State, 5 wins in 3 years. Let's move on. No reason to address the Cougars until they get just a little bit better. It's on to the Big 2, Stanford and Oregon. First, the Cardinal. We know the storylines. Jim Harbaugh, one of the best young and up-and-coming coaches in the country, off to the NFL in San Francisco. He has taken his defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, with him. That's the bad news. But the really great news is that quarterback Andrew Luck is back, and he is leading the Heisman race out of the gate. He's the best quarterback in the country, a nod over Landry Jones. For the Cardinal, they lose their 2 best receivers. They also do not have the premium talent. Don't look at the record last year. Don't look at the huge bowl win against Virginia Tech. This team does not field the talent that the other top programs in the country do. They do it with smarts. They do it, yes, with talent. You can't do it without talent, but not the premium talent that we have at Oregon. Put it on the gas, full throttle, full speed ahead, no huddle, no let up. Deron Thomas leading that attack, 30 touchdowns, 9 picks. LaMichael James back at running back, the best in the country in terms of statistics, 1,731 yards, 24 scores. They do lose 3 offensive linemen. Don't expect that to play too heavily into this season, but what could hurt is that the Ducks have been decimated in the front 7 on defense, and if you look at the Ducks, we assume that they score 45, 50, 55 points a game, but look at the last few performances at the end of last season. Cal caught up with them, a marginal defense shut them down, and Auburn, despite all that speed and talent for the Auburn Tigers, they didn't field a great defense like Alabama, and they stifled the Ducks in the championship game. So maybe some defensive coordinators are catching up with the Oregon Ducks attack. That said, Oregon does win the North, Arizona State the South. The Ducks win a championship game by, 3 touchdowns and go on to another BCS bowl game for the 3rd straight year for Oregon. Okay, some of the top non-conference matchups to look out for. We've got Texas and UCLA. The Bruins went out to Austin last year, pasted the Longhorns. They get the return trip to LA. More rematches. We've got Arizona taking on Oklahoma State. They matched up in the Alamo Bowl. It was no contest with Cowboys winning 36-10. Arizona State's got 2 interesting matchups in the Big Ten and the Big 12 with Mizzou and Illinois. And we've got Oregon State taking on Wisconsin. That an interesting matchup as well. Of course, Arizona State almost knocked off the Big Ten champions last year in Madison. And talk about rematches. For the third time in less than 2 years, Washington, Nebraska, tale of two games here. Washington came back, beat Nebraska in the Holiday Bowl, dominated the Huskers 19-7 after, of course, the Huskers ran over them 56-21 in the regular season, Nebraska and Washington. But all that pales in comparison to Oregon, LSU. The key figure here, Jordan Jefferson out of the game, replaced by Jarrett Lee at quarterback for LSU. And also, can the Ducks hold up against an SEC rushing attack in the fourth quarter? Will be a very entertaining game there at Cowboys Stadium. The Pac-10, make it the Pac-12, comes in at number 3 in our BCS ratings. We'll be back with the final two on Mark Rogers TV.